You are listening to Fort Morgan Mustang Sports right here on Morgan County's B106. This is KPRB Brush, Fort Morgan.
Brian Nickel back here at Legion Field as we are underway here in Game 2 as Kyle Daniels stands in at the plate with the ball and no strike to lead off this second game as the Mustangs won the first game 10-0 and got their last 3 runs on a 3-run home run by Trey McBride in the bottom of the 6th. So now 1 ball and 1 strike here to Daniels. That is going to be a foul ball down the right field side, actually just into the visitors' dugout. We'll get you the starting lineup here as far as batting-wise here for the Mustangs here after this next pitch as James Wasik pitches for Vista Peak, and that is going to be outside for a ball. The Fort Morgan starting lineup is brought to you by Cargill Beef. It is committed to feeding the world in a responsible way by reducing environmental impact and continuously improving products and processes. Learn about Cargill's story and commitment at www.cargill.com. So we'll get to it right after this next pitch. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And that is going to be up and away for ball 3. So batting lineup for the Mustangs is Kyle Daniels will lead off as he plays center field. Shurtleff will be at short. McBride behind the plate. Fritzler will DH for Wiggis, who is pitching today. Cage will bat 5th, and he is at 3rd. Marquez will bat 6th as he plays at 1st, and that pitch is going to be popped up down the left field line and possibly foul, and it does drop harmlessly into foul territory. So Kyle Daniels will stay alive at the plate. As we said, Marquez will bat 6th. At third base, Kenny Keller will bat 7th as he will be in left field. Grayson Garver will bat 8th as he is at second base, and Anthony Roy will bat 9th as he is in left field today for the Mustangs. So 3 balls and 2 strikes to Kyle Daniels as he comes in from the left side. He was the winning pitcher in Game 1. Next pitch by Wasik is going to be ball 4 for the walk. It's a nice job there by Kyle Daniels to get on base. See if we can get some other position players here for the... We got their batting lineup but did not get a fielding lineup here for the home team in this game, the Vista Peak Bison. And the pitch, and that is going to be in the dirt. Kyle Daniels will take off on the pitch, and then it will go past the second baseman, but Daniels with the steal. So Kyle Daniels now out at second base on the steal as we have 1 ball and no strikes now to Trevor Shurtleff. Trey McBride on deck. Jacob Fritzler in the hole. They sneak in behind Daniels out at second. They go back to their positions. So Wasik will pitch, and it's going to be off of the catcher's glove and to the backstop. As Daniels will advance to third. Call that a wild pitch. That would have been a tough one. It was way high off the glove of Paul at the catcher. So runner in scoring position here for Trevor Shurtleff. Shurtleff on the year has 11 RBIs. One out there waiting for him. And the pitch, and that is going to be up and away. 3 balls and no strikes to Shurtleff. Now they're going to go out. Paul is going to go out and take a little bit of time here and talk to his pitcher, James Wasik. So Trevor Shurtleff at the plate, batting at .400. As I said, 11 RBIs, and he has one out there waiting for him at third. And Kyle Daniels, that is going to be in there for the strike as he was taken all the way. So 3 balls and 1 strike to Trevor Shirtliff. Trey McBride on deck. Jacob Fritzler in the hole. McBride with a big 3-run home run in the bottom of the 6th to put the seal on that game. And that pitch is going to be fouled off to the right and out of play. So Shirtliff still alive there. 3 balls and 2 strikes with a runner in scoring position in Kyle Daniels as he got on via the walk and stole second and then took third on the wild pitch. And that is going to be a hard hit ball down into left field. And it looks like he will get a double on that. So nice hard hit ball by Trevor Shirtliff. So Fort Morgan takes the early 1-0 lead here as they are the visitors here in game 2. So Shirtliff stands out at second, drives Daniels home on the hard hit double down the left field line. Now Trey McBride stands in at the plate with his 4 home runs now on the year. And the pitch, and that is going to be a swing and a miss. Ball down low. So no balls and 1 strike. He just didn't want to be tied with Nate Cage for the home run contest here for the Mustangs as Cage hit one out in the first game also. And that pitch is going to be off of the glove, and Shirtliff is going to try to go to third, and he is going to be, let's see if they tag him out. They're going to say he is going to be out at third on the caught stealing. It went off of the catcher initially and then not far enough. So that gives us the 1 out here in the top of the first inning, and Shirtliff is erased from the base paths on a running mistake there. Maybe not necessarily a mistake, but not quite far enough away, and that pitch is going to be up for a ball. So 2 balls and 1 strike on Trey McBride, as he now stands at the plate looking at Wasik. Wasik with the pitch, and that is going to be in there. I'm going to say it hit him. Must have just grazed his jersey, so he is on base by hit by pitch. Now it brings up Jacob Fritzler. And now let's see who's going to run for. We're going to bring Austin Bryden back in for the courtesy runner for McBride. So that puts Bryden back at first. As Jacob Fritzler comes up to the plate for the first time here in game 2. Wasik with the pitch, and that is going to be down in the dirt for ball 1. So 1 ball and no strikes to Fritzler. Fritzler before game 1 was hitting at 351. So he steps back into the plate as Breidenbach gets his lead over at first, dives back in under the throw. Safe still at first is Austin Breidenbach, with James Wasik at the plate, Brett Paul behind the plate, Arturo Valenzuela at third, Casey Embry at short, Daniel Sanchez at first base. That is going to be a chop down to the first baseline, or third baseline, but it's going to be a foul ball. So 1 ball and 1 strike, 1 out here in the top of the first. Fort Morgan gets on the board after Kyle Daniels walks to second and advances to third on a wild pitch. And then Shirtliff doubles him in. Shirtliff was caught stealing, trying to get to third. So James Wasik with the pitch, and that ball is going to be nubbed out past the pitcher, and he will be out at first, and that will put Breidenbach at third. So we'll call that a sacrifice or a fielder's choice sacrifice as Fritzler is erased at first base. And that pitch is low for a ball. So Breidenbach stands at third. Breidenbach. That pitch is going to be way high and outside. So we have a timeout here as they take a trip out to the plate, or out to the mound, The opening pitch is brought to you by Ingmar Phillips Insurance. Looking to find insurance for your car, home, or even for you? Call Ingmar Phillips Insurance with 2 locations in Brush and Fort Morgan. They can help you with your home, car, health, or life insurance questions or provide a quote. So 2 balls and no strikes here to Nate Cage. Adrian Marquez on deck, Kenny Keller in the hole with Breidenbach standing at third. And that is a hard hit ball out to center field, and that will find a home out there as the center fielder gets it back in to second base, but a nice hard hit ball by Nate Cage. As that now brings the score to 2-0 here with 2 out in the top of the first, with Adrian Marquez at the plate, Kenny Keller on deck, Grayson Garver in the hole. So not a real big lead now for Cage. As Wasik comes to the set and the pitch, and that is going to be a swing and a miss by Marquez. Wasik takes a look over at first. Cage not much of a lead, and the pitch, and that is going to be hit Marquez in the back. So that will send Marquez to first, Nate Cage to second, bring up Kenny Keller here in the top of the first. Farmers Insurance Agency, Brenda Robinette, your farmer's agent, will work to provide unique, customized coverage at an affordable price. 522-1341. So James Wessick, 25 pitches here in this first inning, 11 strikes, 14 balls, as Kenny Keller at the plate, and that is a swing and a miss for the first strike. So no balls and 1 strike to Kenny Keller. Adrian Marquez at first, Nate Cage out at second. Wasik with the pitch. That is going to be another swing and a miss on Keller. So now no balls and 2 strikes. CHS Grainland, your full-service co-op that's farmer-owned and brings the very best in grain, agronomy, fuel, feed, and car and truck needs. Find them online at grainland.coop. So Wasik with a look back at second, now at the set. And the pitch. That is going to be a hard hit ball, and that will find a gap out into left center field. And that will bring Cage home, Marquez to third. So a nice piece of hitting there. As Kenny Keller gets the RBI. Nate Cage comes in. That sends Adrian Marquez to third. So still 2 out here in the top of the first as Grayson Garver at the plate, Anthony Arroyo on deck, Carl Daniels in the hole. And the pitch, and that is a pop straight up, way up there, coming back down to the catcher. And nice job there by the catcher for the third out to end the top of the first. So after half an inning, the Mustangs are up 3-0 on B106 and B106.com. Brian Nickel here at Legion Field in Fort Morgan as Game 2 has gotten underway here. We go to the bottom of the first as the Fort Morgan Mustangs are the visiting team here. Vista Peak, the home team, as we bat here in the bottom of the first inning. The Mustangs plate 3 with 3 hits, no errors, and 2 left on in the top of the first. James Wessick, 29 total pitches in that first inning. So Jason Wiggis on the mound here for Game 2. Trevor Shurtleff with an RBI, Nate Cage also with an RBI, and Kenny Keller with an RBI for the Mustangs in the top of the first inning. And now bat for the home team is Martinez, as that ball is going to be up and away as he was a bunt attempt, but pulls the bat back in time for the ball call, and that pitch is going to be in there for a strike. Nice hard fastball by Jason Wiggis on the outside part of the plate. So 1 ball and 1 strike for Wiggis on Brandon Martinez, and that slow curveball in there for a strike. Swinging miss. Martinez way out in front of that pitch. So now 1 ball and 2 strikes for Wiggis as he comes to the set, and that pitch is going to be high and away. Ball 2. Defensively here for the Mustangs in the bottom of the first is McBride behind the plate, Marquez at first, Grayson Garver at second, Shurtleff at short, Nate Cage at third. And that pitch is going to be fouled off to the right. Finishing out the defensive setup for the Mustangs, Kenny Keller in left, Kyle Daniels in center, and Anthony Royo in right. And the kick and the pitch by Wiggis, and that is going to be up high. Ball 3, so 3 balls and 2 strikes on Martinez. And the pitch, that is going to be in there. It's going to be hit down the right field line. We'll see if they can get to it. And Anthony Arroyo gets under it for the out. So they had the pop fly to right field. So 1 out here in the bottom of the first as J.J. Augustus comes to the plate for Vista Peak. He was batting .360 prior to Game 1, and that is going to be a hard hit ball out to center field. And that will find the hole out at center field as Augustus takes a wide turn at first, then goes back to first. So a hard hit single out to center field, and Kyle Daniels gets the ball back into Garver, now back into the hands of Wiggis. As the Mustangs lead here in the bottom of the first, 3-0 after they put 3 on the board in the top of the first. So now Sean Paul, left-handed batter at the plate. And Wiggis throws over to first to Marquez, but Augustus back in time and under the tag. So Wiggis looks into McBride for the sign. And now the kick and the pitch. And that ball is going to be fouled back to the screen as they had Augustus on the move. Had the hit and run going, but Sean Paul fouls it back to the screen. Casey Embry on deck. Arturo Valenzuela, in the hole. So Wiggis with the pitch, and that is going to be a swing and a miss. Paul was way late on that strike. So no balls and 2 strikes on Sean Paul. He was a losing pitcher in Game 1. Wiggis now at the set and the pitch, and that is going to be popped up and right back here at us as it goes over our heads in foul territory. 11 pitches so far for Jason Wiggis. Wiggis looks into McBride for the sign as Augusta's still at first base, and he looks to go on the steal, but he gets back in under the tag of Marquez. That was a close play over there, but called safe by the umpire. Wiggis on the year is 1-1 with a 4.20 ERA. We sit at no balls and 2 strikes with 1 out here in the bottom of the first. And the pitch, and they're running, and that ball is going to be popped up. And Grayson Garver looks to be camping under it, and he does. Gets the out. On the pop-up. So now 2 out here in the bottom of the first. Casey Embry at the bat. On deck is Arturo Valenzuela, and in the hole is Brett Paul. I'm not sure what they're checking on over there at first. Making sure he's... I don't know if he had to dive back into first or what happened there. We're checking on the runner over at first base. So Augustus with a very short lead as Wiggis comes to the plate, and that is going to be a hit right back up the middle, but nice job by Wiggis as he is going to throw out the runner at first. So at the end of 1, the Fort Morgan Mustangs lead at 3-0 on B106 and B106.com. Ryan Nickelback here at Legion Field in Fort Morgan as the Mustangs come to bat in the top of the second inning, as they are the home team here in Game 2. In that bottom of the first, Jason Wiggis, 13 total pitches, allowed 1 hit and no errors, no runs for Vista Peak. So up to bat is Anthony Arroyo, as he did play last game but did not bat. So he will bat this game. Kyle Daniels on deck, Trevor Shurtleff in the hole, with James Wasick on the mound, and that pitch is going to be in the dirt, ball 1. So 1 ball and no strikes on Anthony Arroyo. So Wasick at the pitch, and it is going to be in there for a strike. Anthony Arroyo is batting .292, 13 RBIs, with 1 home run, 1 triple, and 1 double. Wasick now at the set and the kick and the pitch, and that is going to be low, ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike on the senior Anthony Arroyo. Comes in from the right side, also a right-handed thrower as a batter, and that is going to be chopped up the third base side, but foul. So now 2 balls and 2 strikes on Anthony Arroyo. As Wasick looks in to get the sign from Brett Paul. Now comes to the set and the kick and the pitch, and that is going to be ball 3, as that hit the ground and then bounced back to the backstop. So Anthony Arroyo, with the 3-2 count, no outs. Mustangs lead 3-0 here in the top of the second, and that is going to be low, ball 4. So we get the leadoff batter aboard for the Mustangs here to start off this second inning, and that will bring up Kyle Daniels with a walk in the first inning, as he comes in from the left side. Kyle Daniels playing out in center field in this second game. Now, throwback is Arroyo dives back into first. Keeping Arroyo close over there. As we have a beautiful day here for baseball, and that pitch is going to be in the dirt. Nice stop there by Paul, as that was about a 55-foot curveball, and Paul did a nice job of stopping that ball from going to the backstop. Finally got a nice day in here for some baseball. As there's Arroyo's taken off, and Arroyo is going to steal second base. So nice job there by Anthony Arroyo on the steal. So now runner in scoring position for Kyle Daniels. So Wasik got the set and the pitch, and it's going to be bunted up the third base line. Nice job. So now runners at first and third, excuse me. As that brings Trevor Shirtliff up to bat. 1-for-1 with a double. Now that's going to be hit out into left or out into right field, but not deep enough for anybody to advance. So a pop-up down the right field line, taken in by the right fielder. And that seems to be number 20, Maurice Steele. As now Trey McBride up to the plate, hit by a pitch in his first appearance. So Wasik got the set and the pitch, and that is going to be grounded to the third baseman, but off of his glove. So that brings in Anthony Arroyo. But that should have been handled, so we're going to give him an error on the third baseman. And Kyle Daniels now stands out at second. So Daniels at second, Trey McBride at first, and that brings up, I have a question here by the home plate umpire. I'm not sure just what he's questioning, as Jacob Fritzler comes up to bat, as he had a sacrifice bunt in the first time up for him. So I don't know if the umpire had a question, or maybe it was the manager for Vista Peak that had a question on the batting order. Because I think they had a base runner go in for McBride that first time up. But now 4-0, Fort Morgan as a swing and a miss by Jacob Fritzler. With one out here in the top of the second, Fort Morgan leading 4-0. No balls and one strike on Fritzler. Wasik, as they look to get somebody back, and they about threw that into center field. Nice job there by the shortstop to stop that from getting out into center field, and Kyle Daniels headed to third. Excuse me, I think they do have a runner, a courtesy runner over at first. I didn't see him come in, but I believe it's Austin Breidenbach that has come in for Trey McBride. And that pitch is going to be high and away. For a ball, 1 ball and 1 strike, 1 out here in the top of 2. The Mustangs leading 4-0 over Vista Peak, as they come in now at 4-2 overall in Colorado 7 league play. The Mustangs sit at 10-1 after the win in game one. And that pitch is going to be low and outside. Ball two. 2 balls, 1 strike. It's Fort Morgan. And I believe Elizabeth probably both sit at the top of the league now with Vista Peak with their 2 losses. And that pitch is going to be in there for a strike. So 2 balls and 2 strikes on Fritzler. Yes, Fritzler looks down at Coach Josh Langford at third base to get his hitting assignment. And Wasik looks back at second as Kyle Daniels gets a lead at first. Bryden back with his lead over at first as they sneak in behind. But now the pitch, and they're going to have a double steal. And no throw is going to be taken, and they're going to say safe as they have the double steal. And both runners are safe. So Bryden back now at second, Kyle Daniels at third. Jacob Fritzler up at the plate on the 3-2 count. So now 2 runners in scoring position for Fritzler. Fritzler had 12 RBIs before game one, and that ball is going to be fouled back out of play. This one of the Fort Morgan faithful gets booed for not trying to catch the ball here in the stands. 3 balls, 2 strikes on Jacob Fritzler as we play here in the top of 2 with the Mustangs up 4-0. 1 out, 3 balls and 2 strikes on Fritzler. And the kick and the pitch, and that is going to be hit to the third baseman. Oh, and through his legs and 2 out into left field. And now Fritzler will end up at second. As the third baseman made the error. So Fritzler ends up at second on the error. So now 6-0 Fort Morgan as Vista Peak has a conference out at the mound. We'll see if they end up changing pitchers or not. James Wasik was out there. We'll go back and get the first score of the game, and that was brought to you by Morgan Federal Bank, a bank that is committed to their community and keeping banking simple. They're on the cutting edge of banking. Stop by 321 Ensign and see what options they have available. Morgan Federal Bank, there is a difference. So now it looks like we're going to change pitchers. So I think we will take a short break here and then be back with more of the second inning here on B106 and B106.com. Back here at Legion Field on the pitching change as now Joe Wasik in to pitch, and that first ball he throws to Nate Cage is a ball. So Nate Cage at the bat, Adrian Marquez on deck, Kenny Keller in the hole. The wind and the pitch, and that is going to be in there for the strike. James Wasik had started the game. We'll get you his numbers here in a minute. Next pitch is going to be off the catcher and to the right, but not far enough for Fritzler, to advance. So Wasik on the afternoon pitched 1 1/3 innings, had 46 total pitches, gave up 6 runs, 3 of which were earned, 2 walks and 4 hits. And that is going to be a swing and a miss by Nate Cage. So 2 balls and 2 strikes on Cage as he went deep in game 1. Give him 3 on the year for the junior. And now that pitch is going to bounce in, but kept in front of the catcher. Nice job there by Brett Paul. Keep that ball from getting to the backstop and sending Fritzler off to third. So 6 runs here for the Mustangs, as they put 3 up in the first, now 3 here so far in the second, with only 1 out and 1 in scoring position. 6 runs, 4 hits, 2 left on for Fort Morgan. No runs, 1 hit, 2 errors, and 1 left on so far for Vista Peak, as we bat here in the top of the second, with Nate Cage with a 3-2 count, and that pitch is going to be up and high as Cage ducks away from that inside pitch. Now Adrian Marquez up to the plate, hit by a pitch in his first at bat. Kenny Keller on deck, Grayson Garver in the hole. Still only 1 out here in the top of the second. MMI International, when buying a mixer or feeder truck, nothing compares to the MMI design, craftsmanship, and service. Your operation deserves the best. As Wasik comes home, and that pitch is going to be in there for the strike. MMI continually outperform hands down, and they aren't afraid to stand behind their product. Call them at 842-5161. Now Brett Paul takes a walk out to the mound to have a pitcher with Wasik. You might have had him crossed up on the pitches. They get their sign straight, as the Mustangs do have a runner out at second, so they probably switched up their signals for the pitches. So far 7 total pitches for Joe Wasik. And the pitch, and it is going to be low, and it's going to skip away from the catcher. So that will advance both runners. It's now a 1-1 count, and the pitch now is going to be hit down the third base line, and that will score 2. And that will get Marquez into second. So that will make it now 8-0. As Fritzler and Cage both score. Now Adrian Marquez with the double as he stands out at second base. So now 8-0 Fort Morgan after he brings in 2 on the double. So Brett Paul, another nice stop there behind the plate. He's getting a workout here this afternoon. As they've had a number of wild pitches here in the game. He was the catcher also in game 1. And that is going to be a number foul up the first base line. So 1 ball and 1 strike, 1 out still here in the top of the second, with the Mustangs up 8-0 with a runner in scoring position in Adrian Marquez. Kenny Keller is at the plate. Grayson Garver on deck. Anthony Arroyo in the hole, as Wasik with the wind and the pitch. And that's going to be high and over the head of Keller, but stopped by Paul. So 2 balls and 1 strike to Kenny Keller. Wasik checks the runner back at second. Now the leg kick and the pitch. And that is going to be low. Ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike on Keller. High Plains Bank offers a wide variety of products that can be customized to fit your individual needs. See what over a century of customer service can do for you at High Plains Bank in Wiggins. And the pitch, and that is going to be hit down the third base line fair. just inside the bag, and they're going to send Marquez home. The throw is going to come home, but that will plate Marquez as Kenny Keller drives in the 9th run of the game. So Kenny Keller goes to second on the throw home. It's now another small conference out at the plate, so Kenny Keller out at second. So Fort Morgan looks to make this maybe a shortened game here in game 2. Well, they're getting some sunglasses out in center or out in left field for J.J. Augustus, as he's looking right into the sun, as well as Valenzuela and Casey Embry at short. So still one out here in the top of 2, and the pitch, and that is going to be in the dirt. Nice stop once again by Brett Paul. So we'll see what they have Grayson Garber try to do here to advance the runner out at second, and Kenny Keller. Now they're going to throw back. Now Casey Embry, the shortstop, is going to come in and talk to Wassick. I think they were a little crossed up on that because Embry wasn't even at the base. But Keller did dive back in under the throw. So 9-0 here. And now Grayson Garber is hit by the pitch. So now that puts 2 on base. Anthony Arroyo up, and now the coach for Vista Peak is coming out to have a chat. And we'll see what they're going to do here. It looks like maybe Daniel Sanchez. We're going to go ahead and take a 2-minute break here and then come back with more of the second inning here on B106 and B106.com. Back here at Legion Field as the Mustangs lead at 9-0. A pitching change for Vista Peak as Daniel Sanchez comes into pitch. Joe Wassick was just relieved of his duties. 16 total pitches, 2 runs, and got no outs while he was out there. And that pitch is going to be high for ball 1. We'll see who else we have out here. It looks like they have a change at second base. Brandon Martinez is out at second. We'll see if we can pick up who they put at first, and that is going to hit Anthony Arroyo, as that loads the bases here in the top of the second. The Mustangs up 9-0, as they have put 6 runs across the plate here in the top of the second. See if we can check who that is over there. Maybe Joe Wassick out at first. And the pitch. That is going to be outside for the ball. And the pitch, and that is going to be in there for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. As Daniel Sanchez wasted no time there to get that pitch in. Now he looks into Brett Paul for the sign as the Mustangs up 9-0 here in the top of the second. That pitch is also going to be in there. Nice strike taken there by Kyle Daniels. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Daniels. Now the pitch is going to be outside, ball 2. And the wind and the pitch. That is going to be fouled off out of play over the screen to the left. As Kyle Daniels reached for that one, but didn't get enough of it to get it out of play. So he is still alive at the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out. Mustangs up 9-0, and that pitch is going to be hit out to left field and taken for the out, and that will bring home Kenny Keller. So on the sacrifice fly, is so the run 10-0 here, Fort Morgan. As Grace Garver still out at second base. Kyle Daniels is out on the fly ball. So Trevor Shirtliff up at the plate, 1 ball and 1 strike. As Grayson Garver stands out at second and Anthony Arroyo stands at first. So Shirtliff stands in from the right side. That is going to be a foul ball over our heads. So 1 ball and 2 strikes, 2 out here in the top of the second. Fort Morgan with the 10-0 lead. As Jason Wiggis has the comfortable lead here, and now that pitch is going to be inside. Ball 2, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 out. It's Shirtliff at the plate. And the pitch, and that's going to be nubbed down the third baseline, foul. So runners first and second, 1 out there for an RBI attempt here for Trevor Shirtliff as he fouls it down the left field line once again. Bailey Mechanical Heating and Air Conditioning in Sterling, the company that offers a 100% satisfaction guarantee. All you have to do is just remember this number, 521-7272, for all your heating and air conditioning. So 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out in the second inning. And Daniel Sanchez with ball 3. So 3 balls and 2 strikes now on Trevor Shirtliff. And that pitch is going to be fouled back out of play once again. State Farm Insurance, when you're looking for someone to walk you through the insurance world, turn to the office of Greg Mullen in Brush. Home, auto, life, health, State Farm Insurance is here for you and your family. Give Greg Mullen a call today at 842-4555. So Sanchez on the pitch, and that is going to be in there high for ball 4. So now Shirtliff on base as well as Anthony Arroyo, Grayson Garver now at third. And that will bring up Trey McBride. We'll see if he can give this 10-run lead just a little bit more cushion, as he did have a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 6th inning in that first game. And that pitch is going to be catch the outside corner for strike 1. McBride is 0 for 1 here in the game, hit by a pitch. Nice job once again by Paul. To stop that ball from going to the backstop. Now the wind and the pitch. Now it is going to hit McBride as he tries to get out of the way of the ball. But that will end up giving the RBI to McBride. And we'll see. Looks like a courtesy runner here, and that will be Austin Breidenbach once again coming in for Trey McBride, as that will bring up Jacob Fritzler, 0 for 1 on a sac bunt and error. so far in his first two attempts up at the plate. It's now 11-0 Fort Morgan. Bases still loaded for Jacob Fritzler. And the pitch. And that is going to be smacked hard and deep to left center field. But it looks like it's still going to be playable. And that will be caught by the center fielder. So after 1.5 innings, the Fort Morgan Mustangs now up 11-0 on B106 and B106.com. Brian Nickelback here at Legion Field in Fort Morgan with the Mustangs now up 11-0 as they plate 8 runs in that top of the second innings. They get 8 runs, 3 hits, 3 errors, and 3 left on base. For the Mustangs. Now up to bat for Vista Peak is Arturo Valenzuela. And then we'll see if they made any batting changes as they went to change the pitchers. Looks like Brett Paul is on deck, so that will stay the same. So we'll see if Jason Wiggis has what he had in the first one. He had 10 strikes and 3 balls with 13 total in that first inning, but he sat quite a while. And that pitch is going to be in there for a strike. Nice, easy throwing motion by Jason Wiggis. So it looks like he did not miss anything on that one. And that is going to be low and outside, ball 1. So 1 ball and 1 strike here in the bottom of the second inning. And that pitch is going to be right back up to Wiggis off of his glove. So we will give an infield hit to Valenzuela. That will put him on first. Brett Paul at the bat. Maurice Steele on deck. As they're still trying to get through their first batting order for the first time here in the second inning. And they're going to have a steal, and that's going to be a hit down the third base, taken by Cage as a throw across and taken by Marquez. Nice job by Marquez. On the fielder's choice. So Brett Paul is out at first. So Valenzuela. Now the bunt by Maurice Steele as Wiggis gets the ball. It's going to be a wide throw, and that will be an error on Wiggis on the throw. So an error on Wiggis. And now the runner advances to third on the error. So now 2 on, runner at first and runner at third. Maurice Steele on Arturo Valenzuela. First and third. As this will bring up Ashton Sanborn. Here in the bottom of the second with the Mustangs up 11-0. Wiggis now with the pitch. Now they're going to be up high for a ball. 1 ball and no strikes here on Ashton Sanborn. As Wiggis comes to the set and the pitch. And that is going to be, must be a little low and outside for ball 2. So 2 balls and no strikes on Sanborn. As Steele gets his lead from first, that is going to be up and away also for a ball. And Valenzuela also with a lead over at third. So Wiggis needs to come in over the plate so he doesn't end up walking him. And that is going to be in there for the strike. So 3 balls and 1 strike. Pete's Farmers Cooperative have been in business since 1915, and they are still a small-town company that cares about each of their individual customers. See them for all your propane, fuel, and farm needs. And that is going to be a swing and a miss by Sanborn. So Wiggis fighting back here in the count, still in the batter's favor. 3 balls and 2 strikes, and the pitch, and that is going to be in there. Strike 3 called for the first out here, and that brings up Sanchez. Who will be batting here in the bottom of the second inning. So Daniel Sanchez at the bat. James, let's see who's on. Looks like we have another batter, Martinez, in the hole. And swing and a miss by Sanchez. As Wiggins throws that fastball, and he got it in there in a hurry. Daniel Sanchez late on the swing. So no balls and 2 strikes, and that is a lollipop in there, and that is going to be high for ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rominger Jewelry and Gifts is the leader in Northeast Colorado for diamonds, jewelry, watches, and expert in-store jewelry repairs. And the throw over to first, and back in safely is Maurice Steele. So for service, quality, and value, shop Rominger's in downtown Sterling. So Vegas looks over at first once again, now comes home, and that is going to hit the batter right in the back. So now the bases are loaded with 2 out. As this will bring up Brandon Martinez. As he looks down at his third base coach. And the delivery by Wiggis, and that is going to be up and away for ball 1. Wiggis looks in to get the sign from McBride. 1 ball and no strikes. That is going to be in there for the strike. 1 ball and 1 strike on Brandon Martinez. The leg kick and the pitch, and that is going to be hit out over to second, but it's going to be caught. Nice job out there in right field by Anthony Arroyo for out number 3 here in the bottom of the second. So after 2 complete, the Mustangs up 11-0 on B106 and B106.com.
You are listening to Fort Morgan Mustang Sports right here on Morgan County's B106. This is KPRB, Brush, Fort Morgan.
Back here at Legion Field in Fort Morgan. Up to bat will be Nate Cage, Adrian Marquez on deck, and Kenny Keller in the hole. Nate Cage is 1 for 1, a single and a walk here so far in game 2. Cage with a home run in the first game. So it looks like Daniel Sanchez still out at the plate. Looks like we might have a new catcher. And let's see if we can see who that is. It's going to be a number 20, Maurice Steele, behind the plate. See if they have any other changes here. We have number 32, Joe Wasik, over at first. Can't see who's out at second for sure, but let's see, 27, Arturo Valenzuela still over at third. J.J. Augustus now looks like he's roaming around in center field. Left field, I can't see who's out there at left field, 32. But we will get to those as they come around. Nate Cage, as I said, is up to bat here in the top of the third. The Mustangs up 11-0. A single and a walk for Cage as he steps in against Daniel Sanchez. Sanchez with 21 total pitches so far, and that is well inside for ball 1. As Cage steps back into the plate and the wind and the pitch, and that is going to be fouled off to the left into the Fort Morgan dugout. Brush grocery cart, grocery, meat, and fresh deli counters, floral, pharmacy, Western Union, and public service payments, and 24-hour gas. and the pitch, and that is going to be up high for ball 2. They are your one-stop shop. Stop and shop the Brush Grocery Cart at 1302 West Edison Street in Brush. And the wind and the pitch, and that is going to be low. Ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike on Nate Cage. As we bat here in the top of the third, the Mustangs are the visiting team here in game 2. And that pitch is going to be nubbed foul down the third baseline once again. So Cage stays alive at 3 balls and 2 strikes. As Daniel Sanchez with his 27th pitch coming up here. And the kick, and that is going to be a hard hit ball right back up the middle for Nate Cage. So that'll set the table here now for Adrian Marquez as he comes up 1-for-1, hit by a pitch in the first time at bat and then got a double his second at bat as they get the signs from head coach Josh Langford down at third base. Marquez bats in from the right side. Now Sanchez with his delivery, and that is going to be on the outside corner for strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike on that fastball from Sanchez. As the shadows are getting longer here on Legion Field. Sanchez comes to the set, checks his runner, and now that pitch is going to be high. Ball 1. The shadows are getting about halfway across the infield, not quite to the pitcher's mound, and I don't think the pitcher will still be in the sun. And that pitch is going to be inside, ball 2. But we are at an hour and 9 minutes here into game 2. As the Mustangs won that first game 10-0 in 6. As Nate Cage is taken off, and we'll see if they pick him off. And he is going to be in there safe. Nice job there by Nate Cage. He just took off on Sanchez. And they threw back to him, but he does get in under the tag as he does get the stolen base. Now they're going to check on him a little bit there out there at second base, and he slid in there kind of hard. I don't think he's used to stealing or sliding out into second base. We'll take a look here and see if we have any information here on stolen bases. I'm going to guess that he probably doesn't have a lot of them. He does have 2 stolen bases, so we will give him his third. So he does get up and brushes himself off out there at second base. I think Josh Langford asking him if he might have tore up the base when he came in there, but looked like they covered the base up. He all kinds of dirt piled up on the second base up there, but they're giving him a little bit of time to recover. Now it looks like they maybe have a substitute out there for Vista Peak. Looks like Brandon Martinez had gone in to cover on the steal attempt, and maybe he ended up getting rolled over on or something out there, because I see he has come back into the dugout. And the coach is out at the mound now looking back into the dugout to see who they're going to put out there. I guess maybe at second base. Now the trainer for Fort Morgan makes his way over to the dugout of Vista Peak to check on Brandon Martinez. As Adrian Marquez at the plate with 3 balls and 1 strike. And now it looks like we have, let's see what they're doing here. Number 7 just ran out there, but he doesn't have a, maybe he's just warming up. I don't know what he's up to. I thought maybe he was going to go out and play second base, but he doesn't have a, I guess he went out to get some, I'm not sure what he's going out to do. So we'll see what they have here for players here as they try to get things all set up here. It looks like, let's see, we have number 2 out there. I'm not sure where he came in from, maybe right field. Now Sanchez is going to warm up with his third baseman as they try to get things straightened away here. Now it looks like Brandon Martinez will come back out to his spot at second base. So it looks like our right fielder, or the right fielder for Vista Peak, will be Alberto Vasquez. And still not sure who the left fielder is. But we will get back to playing ball here as we are sitting at a 3-1 count to Adrian Marquez. And that pitch is going to be inside. So it must have been 2 balls and 1 strike, excuse me. So now 3 balls and 1 strike on Marquez as he is hit by a pitch and also doubled. So 1 for 1 for Marquez here in the second game as the Mustangs lead at 11-0. And the pitch, and that is going to be behind Marquez as that will be ball 4. But on the wild pitch, that will send Nate Cage to third. So now Adrian Marquez at first, Nate Cage at third. That brings up Kenny Keller. Keller is 2 for 2 with 2 singles here in game 2. Yes, he has a duck on the pond out here that he can try to bring in here. And Sanchez was going to throw back to second. Forgot where anybody was, I guess, and got his foot back up on the rubber and looks in for the sign as he checks the runner over at first. Now back over to third. And now the pitch, and that is going to be popped straight up by Keller. We'll see if he can roam under it and cannot get the foul ball. That went straight up. And kind of a tough job there by Maurice Steele, but he does not come up with the catch. So no balls and 1 strike on Kenny Keller as runners remain at their bases. Marquez at first, Nate Cage at third. Here in the top of 3. And that pitch is hit out into left center field. And it looks like it will be taken by the center fielder, and Nate Cage will head for home. And they're going to cut the throw off. So Nate Cage comes home on the play. So now runner on at second is Adrian Marquez. Should be 12-0 now Fort Morgan, and that pitch is low. They have 2 outs up on the board, but there is only 1 out. Should be 12-0 now Fort Morgan as they sneak in behind Marquez out at second. Now they go back to their positions, and now that is going to hit Grayson Garver in the back. So a number of batters hit by pitches today on behalf of the pitchers of Vista Peak. As Anthony Arroyo comes up to bat, he was also hit by a pitch in his last at bat. So 36 total pitches here for Daniel Sanchez, 19 balls, 17 strikes. As Anthony Arroyo comes to the plate, walk and hit by a pitch. So he's 0 for 0 here so far in this contest with 1 strike now and no balls here in the top of the third. As Sanchez looks back at second, now the pitch in, and that is going to be high for ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now the pitch is hit hard out into center field, but running in on the play and caught out at center field for the out. So runners hold their positions. Garver at first, Adrian Marquez at second, now with 2 outs. Now is Caleb Bell. Comes into bat for Kyle Daniels. In the top of the third here, it looks like we'll have another, as they throw back to first, or back to second, excuse me. Looks like Joe Holbeck is on deck, as he will be coming in for Trevor Shirtliff, at least in the batting order. So Sanchez now with the pitch, and that is going to be low and outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes here on Caleb Bell. Sanchez with a look back at second. Now the kick, and that is going to be low inside. Ball 2. Caleb Bell on the year is batting .286. 2 RBIs. He has one sitting out there for him right now in Adrian Marquez. As Bell bats in from the right side, and that is going to be in there. Must be just a little bit high for ball 2, or ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes on Caleb Bell as he bats for Kyle Daniels here in the top of the third with the Mustangs 12-0. And that is going to be in there for the strike. Looked like he had to turn away from it, tried not to get hit by it, but they did call it a strike on the inner part of the plate. So 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 out here in the top of the third with the Mustangs up 12-0. That is going to be hit down the third base line, but foul. Fort Morgan just putting the 1 run across here so far in the third. They have 12 runs, 7 hits, 1 error, and 5 left on. No runs, 2 hits, 3 errors, and 4 left on by Vista Peak so far, just in the 2 innings that they've been up. And that ball is going to be tomahawked down the left field line. And that looks like that may fall for trouble, and it does get in. And Marquez will score, and that will put Garver at third and Caleb Bell at first. So the single by Caleb Bell brings in the 13th run of the game. Grayson Garver now at third, Caleb Bell at first, and we have Joe Holbeck into the lineup for Trevor Shirtliff. Here in the top of the third. McBride still is in the game. He is on deck, and that is a sharp hit ball down the third base line, but just foul. As Grayson Garver had to hop out of the way of that one. You always lead off at third base. You always stay in the foul part of the play, so if the ball hits you, you won't be out. So no balls and 1 strike here in the third, as that pitch is up and out of the strike zone for ball 1. 1 ball and 1 strike. And Joe Holbeck batting .444 with 4 RBIs in 11 plate appearances. And the pitch, and that is going to be up high also for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike as Caleb Bell takes off. And now they're going to have a throw as Grayson Garver is going to come home on the error. So Grayson Garver started to come down the third baseline. And they tried to throw back to the third baseman. So That will be an error on the catcher. So now 3 balls and 1 strike on Joe Holbeck as we have Caleb Bell standing at third base. Now 14-0 Fort Morgan here in the top of 3. And that is going to be hit by the pitch, I believe. It was ball 4, but it looked like there's another hit by pitch. Now Joe Holbeck at first. Caleb Bell stands down at third with Trey McBride coming up to the plate. Now the coach for Vista Peak makes a trip out to the mound. That is Grant Pipert. It's Fort Morgan well in command of this game early. And they scored 3 in the first, 8 in the second. And so far 3 here in the top of the third. On 8 hits, 1 error, and 5 left on. Vista Peak with 2 hits, 4 errors, and 4 left on. See if they make a pitching change here for Daniel Sanchez, or if he's looks like he's going to stay. So Shippert is out for the had a visit, comes back with a glove. I'm not sure what that's all about. We change gloves with somebody because we still have Steele at behind. Oh, they're going to change pitchers. Let's take a 2-minute break here and then be back with more of the third inning here on B106 and B106.com. So it looks like Arturo Valenzuela will be at the mound. And we'll see if they sent Sanchez out to left or where they're going to put people. So let's take a 1-minute break here and be back with more of the third inning here on B106 and B106.com. Arturo Valenzuela in at pitching now for the Vista Peak Bison. His first pitch to Trey McBride was fouled off over the right side. Now that next pitch is going to be hit down the left field line for a base hit. And muffed out there by the left fielder as McBride in with the double. And that sent Holbeck to third. So now McBride out at second, Holbeck at third. So now 15-0 Fort Morgan. Jacob Fritzler up to bat. Nate Cage on deck. Adrian Marquez in the hole. 0 for 2 so far is Jacob Fritzler. Sack bunt. This will be actually his 4th time up the bat. As he looks at ball 1. Arturo with the pitch, and that is going to be inside, ball 2. So 2 balls and no strikes here as we go 1 hour and 27 minutes into the game so far and only in the top of the third. And that pitch is going to be inside for a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike to Jacob Fritzler. With runners in scoring position, McBride out at second, Holbeck at third. And that is going to be a pitch down and away. 3 balls and 1 strike. Now Valenzuela looks in, checks his runners. And the pitch. And that is going to be ball 4. So that will load the bases now for Nate Cage. So Nate Cage comes up 2 for 2, 2 singles and a walk so far for Cage. As it looked like if Cage does get on, Austin Breidenbach will be in the lineup for Adrian Marquez, and that is off of the catcher and to the backstop, but everybody retreats back as Joe Holbeck stops, so everybody heads back to their to their bases. Holbeck had started down the third baseline and went back, and then Trey McBride was about halfway to third. He had to turn around and go back to second. Jacob Fritzler wasn't quite so far, but here's the next pitch. Now it's going to be popped up on the right side. We'll see if it's in play, and it will be just out of play to the right side. So 1 ball and 1 strike here as the lights are on here at Legion Field. As we bat here in the top of the third, Fort Morgan with on the visitor side here in game 2, as they won the first game 10-0. Runners lead the base. That's a hard hit ball out into left field, and they will send 2 home. So a single, by Nate Cage. And that plates 2. And McBride did come home. So runners now at first and second, Nate Cage and Jacob Fritzler out there, and we do have Austin Bryden back. Batting here for Adrian Marquez. So now 17-0 Fort Morgan as that ball is hit right back up the middle and out into center field. And that will send Jacob Fritzler home. They're going to throw the ball home, and he is going to be out. Nice throw by the center fielders. They get Jacob Fritzler out at the plate. So at the end of 2.5, the Mustangs up now 17-0 on B106 and B106.com. Back here at Legion Field with the Mustangs up now 17-0 here going into the bottom of 3. And that will bring up J.J. Augustus. So J.J. Augustus up. He is 1 for 1 on the single here so far as Jason Wiggis back out on the mound. We'll see who looks like Bryden back is now at first. Cage still at third, and that pitch is going to be in there for a strike. So Grayson Garver is now at short. That next pitch is going to be hit to Garver out at third. Gets it, and nice throw there by Garver on the throw as they get him by a step. On the ground out, so 1 out here in the bottom of the first as Wiggis comes to set in the pitch. That is going to be a solid single into left field. As Sean, I believe that was Sean Paul that hit that. Now Casey Embry. We have a switch in the lineup here for Casey Embry. That will be Gabe Cortez, as that is in there for a strike on Cortez. So we play here in the bottom of the third. 1 ball, no strikes, no balls and 1 strike. Now pitch over to the first and back safely is the runner. It's not Sean Paul. Let's see who that is. We just looks over now, pitch home, and that is in there for a strike. 2 strikes and no balls. as Jorge Orozco is the runner at first. So 2 outs here on the swinging strikes. That brings up Arturo Valenzuela. He's 1 for 1 in a single, and they're going to throw out to first, and maybe they're going to catch the runner off at first. Nice job by, that's Kenny Keller that's behind the plate. And through to Austin Breidenbach for the out at first. So at the end of 3, the Fort Morgan Mustangs lead at 17-0 on B106 and B106.com. Back here at Legion Field, the Mustangs played 6 in that run, in that inning. On 5 hits, 1 error, and 2 left on. So 17 runs, 11 hits, 1 error, and 7 left on for Fort Morgan. Vista Peak, no runs, 3 hits, 4 errors, and 4 left on. As Kenny Keller comes to the plate, Grayson Garver on deck, and Anthony Arroyo in the hole for the Mustangs here as we go to the top of the 4th. As we are an hour and 37 minutes into the game. Starting to cool down here as the sun is gone, and hit to third. Stopped by the third baseman. High throw to first, but nice job there by Daniel Sanchez. After the ground out. So 1 out here in the top of the 4th. Grayson Garver at the bat, Anthony Arroyo on deck, and Caleb Bell in the hole. It's Fort Morgan. Grayson Garver with the hit too short and dropped at shortstop. So that will be an error on the shortstop. So Garver at first on the air, and that brings up Anthony Arroyo, 0 for 1, a walk, hit by a pitch, and a flyout. Throw over to first, and back safely is Grayson Garver. Under the throw by Valenzuela. Valenzuela now checks the runner to the plate, and that's going to be inside. Ball 1. So Garver on the air. 6 steals so far for Garver. One ball with no strikes with 1 out here in the top of the 4th. Mustangs up 17-0. That's going to be a ball hit out over the second baseman into center field. And that will advance Garver as he comes around to third. Stopped for a minute there at second, but then he decided to take off. So now runners at the corners, first and third. Anthony Arroyo out at first, Grayson Garver at third, Caleb Bell. As we have stoppage of play, somebody kicking a ball down the right field line and kicking a soccer ball into play down there. So a short stoppage here now as we have runners at first and third. And Caleb Bell at the plate. Arturo Valenzuela with the pitch. And that is going to be a swing and a miss by Bell. So 16 total pitches here for Valenzuela. 6 balls and 10 strikes. As he checks the runner at first, third. And then that pitch is going to be fouled off to the right. So 2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out here in the top of the 4th inning. Valenzuela checks his runners now to the pitch, and that is going to be up and out for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Shine On and Sterling has affordable detailing, and their window tinting will reduce glare and eye discomfort and protect your vehicle. Just give Shine On and Sterling a call at 580-4345. And that pitch is going to be hit down the third base line, and that is a fair ball as he gets by the third baseman. And that will bring Garver home And Anthony Arroyo to third. So a double. So Caleb Bell with the double. Anthony Arroyo now at third. So now 18-0 Fort Morgan as we play in the top of the fourth. One out. Joe Holbeck and Trey McBride on deck with Jacob Fritzler in the hole. So Valenzuela checks his runners once again. And that pitch is going to be just inside for ball one. As the moon comes up over left field out here. Looks pretty close to a full moon tonight. As the Mustangs are ahead here 18-0. That ball is up high. 2 balls and no strikes to Joey Holbeck. As we now are an hour and 42 minutes into this game and only in the top of the fourth inning, and that pitch is going to be in there for a strike. As Caleb Bell and Anthony Arroyo each take their respective leads from their bases. And the pitch, and that is going to be hit out into center field, and that should plate 2 on the, it's going to be a single as Holbeck holds up at first, but that will bring in 2. On the single. So that brings up Trey McBride. He has 1 for 2, hit by a pitch, reached on an error. Well, he's been hit twice tonight, actually hit by a pitch, and then also doubled his last time up. So now 20-0, and that pitch is going to be fouled off to the right by McBride. As Joey Holbeck stands out at first base, Jacob Fritzler on deck, Nate Cage in the hole. As Trey McBride will load up here and see if he can put this ball into play, and that is going to be low. Holbeck goes for the steal. That is going to be kicked out into center field, but not far enough for him to advance. He will get the stolen base, and now stands out at second base. So another RBI opportunity here for Trey McBride. As he hits a hard grounder right up the middle, and that is stopped. Nice job there by the shortstop for the second out. But that does advance the runner to third. So nice job there by the shortstop. As Holbeck now stands at third base with 2 outs, and Jacob Fritzler up to the plate, 0 for 2. Walk last time up for Fritzler. And the pitch. And that is a hard hit ball to the shortstop. Nice bounce there. Throw over, and that is the third out here of the top of the fourth, with the Mustangs up now 20-0 on B106 and B106.com. Going into the bottom of the fourth inning here with the Mustangs up 20-0. A few changes out there on the defense for the Mustangs. Can't quite pick up who it is. Looks like maybe Joe Holbeck. Is now at shortstop. As Kenny Keller is behind the plate. Looks like Caleb Bell. Can't tell who's out at second for sure. It looks like it might be Bobby Tolson out at second. That brings up Arturo Valenzuela. And that pitch goes by Keller to the backstop for a ball. So right now Kenny Keller behind the plate. Jason Wiga still at the mound. Breidenbach at third. Bobby Tolson at second. Joe Holbeck at short. And Nate Cage out at third. And that pitch is going to be high, ball 2. think Caleb Bell is now out in right. As Wiggis with the line and the pitch, and that is going to be in there on the hook there for the strike. Nice pitch there by Jason Wiggis. 2 balls and 1 strike. 39 total pitches here so far for Wiggis. As we go into the 4th, that is also high for a ball. 3 balls and 1 strike. So a lot of time in between times on the mound here for Jason Wiggis. As that pitch is going to be in there for a strike. So 3 balls and 2 strikes, 41 pitches so far for Wiggis. 28 strikes, 13 balls. Arturo Valenzuela, a single, 1 for 1 here so far in the game. In the 4th, swing and a miss. Strike 3 for the first out here in the 4th inning with the Mustangs up 20-0. And that will bring up, let's see who we have here. We have a number 21, Alberto Vasquez, batting, and that is in there for a strike. Alberto Vasquez on the year, and that is going to be a swing and a miss. Nice pitch there by Jason Wiggis. So Vasquez is at 500, only batting in his 4th game. And the wind and the pitch, and that is going to be in there for a ball, just a little bit inside and low. So 1 ball and 2 strikes on Alberto Vasquez as the pitch is delivered, and that is going to be high and outside. Ball 2, 2 balls and 2 strikes as we play here in the bottom of the 4th. The Mustangs up 20-0 as they will sweep the twin bill here this afternoon. And that ball is pitched up, and Nate Cage calling for it, and he drops it. So an error on Nate Cage. Jason Wiggis had initially looked like he was calling for it, and then Nate Cage called him off. So Alberto Vasquez sits at first base. I believe Maurice Steele now at the plate. And that is up high and away for ball 1. Wiggis looks in, checks his runner over at first. Now they're going to throw over. Back safely, though, is Vasquez. So 1 ball and no strikes here as we play in the bottom of 4, 20-0 Fort Morgan. And that is a nice slow curveball in there, but they're going to call that a little bit inside for 2 balls and no strikes. As Wiggis gets the sign, now the pitch, that's going to be fouled back to the backstop. 2 balls and 1 strike here now on Maurice Steele. As they retrieve the ball, now Steele back in at the plate. As Wiggis gets the sign and the pitch, and that is going to be a ball back to the backstop on the wild pitch. So Vasquez will advance to second on the wild pitch. So Wiggis back on the mound, back up on the rubber with Steele. Now we're sitting at 3 balls and 1 strike as he checks the runner back at second. And now the delivery, and that pitch is in there for a strike. Nice fastball in part of the plate for Wiggis. As he now gets ready to pitch to Maurice Steele, who is 0 for 1 so far here in the game. Checks the runner back at second. Now comes to the set. And the pitch, and that is going to be swing and a miss. Strike 3 for Jason Wiggis. Alberto Vasquez still out at second with 2 outs now. And now we have a new batter up here for Vista Peak. And that will be Joe Wasik. Into the lineup for Vista Peak. He is 0 for 3 so far at the plate, so no batting average for him. So 2 outs here in the bottom of 4. Jason Wiggis with 53 total pitches here in the game. 35 strikes, 18 balls, and that is a swing and a miss. Seek. We'll see if he can ring up the 3rd out here, and we can go home after almost a 2-hour game here that's gone into the bottom of the 4th, and that pitch is going to be low for a ball. So 1 ball and 1 strike. On Joe Wasik. Checks the runner. Now the pitch, and that is going to be popped up, but back out of play. So still at 1 ball and 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of 4. As Jason Wiggis with a delivery, and that curveball is going to be up and out of the strike zone. So 2 balls and 2 strikes on Joe Wasik. Daniel Sanchez on deck. Checks the runner, and now the pitch. That is going to be well outside for ball 3. 3 balls and 2 strikes. As the ball gets over the head of Jason Wiggis and retrieved by Joe Holbeck. So playing ball here under the lights now here at Legion Field, as we are 6 minutes away from a 2-hour game, and that is going to be ball 4. So Daniel Sanchez up to bat. We'll see who comes out on deck. But Sanchez was hit by a pitch in his first at bat. So now runners at first and second. Joe Wasik at first, Vasquez at second. And the pitch, and that ball is hit out to center field, out to Kyle Daniels, and he will put it away for the 3rd out. So at the end of 4, it's the Fort Morgan Mustangs 20, Vista Peak nothing on B106 at B106.com.
Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard, work hard.
Going into the top of 5 here as the Fort Morgan Mustangs come up to bat. Nate Cage will be up first, Arthur Breidenbach on deck, and Kenny Keller in the hole. As we are at 1 hour and 56 minutes into the 5th inning. So we will see what happens here as we go into 5. Nate Cage is 3 for 3, a single, 2 singles, 3 singles, and a walk here in the second game. He did have a home run in game 1, and that ball is going to be low, ball 1. As he stands in from the right side. And that pitch is going to be inside, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes as he turns away from that inside pitch. Valenzuela with the pitch, and that is in there for a strike. On that fastball, caught the outer half of the plate. Valenzuela with the pitch, and that is going to be hard hit and over the head of the shortstop out into left center field. So Nate Cage once again on deck with now 4 singles and a walk. Now Bryden back up to the plate, 1-for-1. He has a single. He came in the third in the place of Marquez. So Valenzuela with the pitch, and that is in there for a strike. No balls and one strike. First National Bank in Fleming. Bank your financial needs with the Logan County home-owned bank since 1917. First National Bank in Fleming, member FDIC. Next pitch is going to be behind the batter, and that will send Nate Cage down to first on the wild pitch. So a runner in scoring position for Austin Breidenbach. Breidenbach started the game with 5 RBIs, or started the first game with 5 RBIs. That pitch misses for a ball, so 2 balls and 1 strike here as we play in the top of 5. Mustangs won the first game 10-0. Now that next pitch is going to be hit out to the second baseman, and out at first is Breidenbach. As the runner held up at second, so Nate Cage still sits out at second base. Kenny Keller up to the plate. And Bobby Tolson is on deck. So 1 out here in the top of the 5th as Valenzuela with the delivery, and that is fouled off to the right side. So 36 total pitches here for Valenzuela. Here in the top of the 5th, he checks his runner back at second. Now the pitch, and that is going to be a hard hit ball deep out in the left center field and over the head of the left fielder. So that will bring Nate Cage home. Oh, they're going to hold him at third. But a double by Keller. So Keller now at second, Nate Cage at third. I think they just held him up there not to run up the score any more than it already is. So now Bobby Tolson in for Grayson Garver. Comes on here in the 5th. Now we have runners at second and third. Kenny Keller out at second. Nate Cage at third with 1 out. And Bobby Tolson at the plate, and that ball is in there for a ball, just a little bit low and outside. So Bobby Tolson has scored 1 run, has no batting average here just in 3 games, and that pitch is going to be in there for a strike. And the wind and the pitch, and that is going to be outside ball 2. So 2 balls and 1 strike to Bobby Tolson. And that is going to be well outside once again for ball 3. Bobby Tolson stands in now with a 3-1 count. And that is going to get by the batter or by the catcher, but nobody advances. That will be ball 4. So now Anthony Arroyo comes up to bat, 1 for 2. A walk hit by a pitch, a fly out, and a single. So the bases are loaded here in the top of 5 for Anthony Arroyo. Arroyo with 1 home run on the year. So Valenzuela with the kick and the pitch, and that is right back to him off his glove. But they will get the out at first, but Cage will come in to score. as that was hit right back to the pitcher. So now we have runners at second and third. Bobby Tolson out at second, Kenny Keller at third, and Caleb Bell up at the plate. 2 for 2, a single and a double. First pitch is in there for a strike. That fastball right down the middle. As we now have 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Valenzuela with a pitch, and that's going to be a foul ball down the left side, just past head coach Josh Langford. And that is going to be a swing and a miss for the third out here in the top of 5. So after 4.5, the Mustangs now lead at 21-0 on B106 and B106.com. Brian Nickel here, as we're about ready to wrap this up, I would assume here in the next 10 minutes or so, as Jason Wiggis takes the mound here as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning with the Mustangs up 21-0. And batting now for Vista Peak is Brandon Martinez. He's 0 for 2, 2 flyouts for Martinez. As Jason Wiggis with 60 total pitches here, the wind and the delivery, and that is just a little bit high for ball 1. Next broadcast for Fort Morgan baseball will be next Wednesday. Weld Central will be here at Fort Morgan at 4 o'clock for the Colorado 7 League contest. That pitch in there for a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike. As Fort Morgan will look to finish out the league next week. And that pitch is going to be fouled off down the right field line and converging on it. And it just goes foul. Tough try there for Breidenbach as it falls to the ground. He and Tolson, or Caleb Bell, both converged out there, but it did fall to the ground for a strike. So now 1 ball. I have it as 1 ball and 2 strikes. So the pitch by Wiggis, and that is a ball. 2 balls on Martinez. They have 2 balls and 2 strikes on Martinez. Wiggis with the next pitch, and that is going to be fouled back to the screen. Two balls and 2 strikes. That's what we have. They were just a little slow getting it up on the board. So Jason Wiggis with 65 total pitches, 41 strikes, 24 balls in the start here, and that ball is going to be fouled off to the right and out of play. So as I said, the Mustangs will play next Wednesday here at Legion Field against Weld Central, and then they will go to Weld Central on Friday. And that will also be a 4 o'clock game. At least that's the way it's scheduled, unless Mother Nature has something else to say about it. A swing and a miss. It was a foul ball. So 2 balls and 2 strikes still on Brandon Martinez. With Wiggis on the mound, 67 total pitches, and that is going to be a little up for a ball. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Martinez. We're 2 hours and 8 minutes into just a little over a 4.5 inning game as we've started the 5th, and that is going to be ball 4. And the ball gets by the catcher, Kenny Keller, to the backstop. But Brandon Martinez goes no farther than first base. So J.J. Augustus up to bat. He is 1 for 2, a single and a ground out. Now as he has Brandon Martinez on at first. And that pitch is in there for a strike. On deck is Jorge Orozco for Vista Peak. And that pitch is going to be a hit to the shortstop. And the throw across is not going to be a good one as it gets past Breidenbach to the fence. That would have been a tough play. That was deep in the hole. But we will give a so runners now at first and third as he did advance on the plate at third. So still 21-0 here as Vista Peak has one in scoring position. Ball one now. And this is going to be on Jorge Orozco. And throw over to first, and safe is J.J. Augustus. So Wiggis with the look and the pitch, and that's going to be a strike, and the fake throw to third, or fake throw to second. So J.J. Augustus with the stolen base. As now they have two in scoring position. Augustus at second and Martinez at third. And that pitch is outside. So 2 balls and 1 strike now on Orozco. As Williams checks his runners, now gets the sign from Kenny Keller. Now steps off the rubber for a minute. Now back into the batter's box is Jorge Orozco. Wiggis with the kick and the pitch, and that is going to be in there for the strike. So 2 balls and 2 strikes as we look for our first out here in the bottom of the 5th. The Fort Morgan Mustangs won game 1 10-0 in 6 as the infield plays in. And the pitch, and that is going to be hit to the shortstop. Holbeck and over to first for the out. Nice job there by Holbeck. As everybody held their bases, so Augustus still at second, Martinez at third. We'll see who they have up to bat now. And batting for is Gabe Cortez, 0 for 1 on a swinging strike. 1 ball and no strikes, and that ball is going to be hit to the third baseman. They're going to come home and get the out at the home plate. Nice job by Nate Cage as he gets the out at home. So now 2 outs. With runners at first and third. Now runners at first and third. 1 ball and no strikes now. To Alberto Vasquez. Now a pick over at first. Actually, it's Valenzuela. Arturo Valenzuela now at the plate. A single and a out swinging. So now 2 balls and no strikes here on Valenzuela as Wiggis with the pitch, and that is going to be in there for a strike. 2 balls and 1 strike as we play in the bottom of the 5th. Runners at first and third. As we did get a nice play by Cage to get the out at the plate. As we play with 2 outs. And that is going to be in there for a strike. So we're one strike away from getting out of this game here with the Mustangs up 21-0 here in the bottom of the fifth. As Valenzuela is 1 for 2. Sitting here with 2 balls and 2 strikes, and now a ball 3. So now the runner advances from first to second on an indifference by the defense, and now it's ball 4. So now the bases are loaded. As, see who we have up here now. It's have a bases loaded, and that is in there for a strike. So no balls and 1 strike. That ball is going to be up high to Vasquez. So now 1-1 on Vasquez. Let's see if we can get out of this game here, and that is in there for a strike. So 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs. So we'll see if we can get Jason Wiggis get the 3rd strike here out. So 1 ball and 2 strikes, and that is going to be up high for 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs here with the Mustangs up 21-0 here in the bottom of the 5th. As this is game 2 of a twin bill here today, with the Mustangs winning the first one 10-0, and that is going to be popped out foul over the right side. So still 2 balls and 2 strikes to Vasquez. .87 total pitches here, and the swing and a miss, and that will bring it to an end here on the swinging strikeout. So the Fort Morgan Mustangs win it 21-0 over Vista Peak. We will be back in 2 minutes with the postgame show here on B106 and B106.com. This Fort Morgan Mustangs postgame show is brought to you by Morgan Community College. Find out why Morgan Community College is the best choice for your higher education. Visit MCC online at www.morgancc.edu or stop by the campus for a personal advising session. MCC, here to help you imagine your possibilities, believe in yourself, and achieve your goals. Well, the Mustangs win the doubleheader here today. They win this second game 21-0. Like 21 runs, 16 hits, 3 errors, and 10 left on. The Vista Peak Bison, no runs, 5 hits, 5 errors, and 9 left on. Fort Morgan, 3 runs in the first, 8 in the second, 6 in the third, 3 in the fourth, and 1 in the fifth. And that will bring their record now to 11-1 in league play. Jason Wiggis goes the distance here in game 2 with 89 pitches. Has 89 pitches, 5 for strikeouts, 4 swinging hit, gave up 5 hits, 2 base on balls for Jason Wiggis as he comes in for the start here against Vista Peak in game 2 today. We will go with the Fort Morgan Mustang player of the game, and that is brought to you by Mr. D's Ace Home Center, where 3 locations to serve you better. Sterling Brush and Fort Morgan, your headquarters for all your home, farm, and ranch supplies from plumbing to feed. So our Fort Morgan player of the game, after scoring 21 runs, we will go with, I believe we'll just stick with Jason Wiggis as he comes in for the complete game with the 89 pitches, 5 strikeouts, 5 hits, and 2 base on balls. Nice job by Jason Wiggis as he comes in for the start here in Game 2 as the Mustangs take the doubleheader here. First game they won 10-0, and then they also shut out Vista Peak in this game 21-0. Our next broadcast for Fort Morgan Mustang baseball will be next Wednesday, April 27th, and that will be here at Fort Morgan as the Weld Central Rebels come in for a Colorado 7 League battle. So I think this has gone on long enough for one day as the doubleheader goes on. So thank you to Julie Garcia. Wonderful job here today as our engineer and producer here of Fort Morgan Mustangs baseball. Once again, our final scores: the Mustangs win them both 10-0 and 21-0 here on B106 and B106.com.